Today's topic for our Yuki commentaries for today is going to be about indie developers as well as the state of AAA gaming. We're going to get into this article from Superjump in this a quick bit. I want to go over what's been going on with modern gaming, or as we call it, AAA gaming first. So, in developers make video games. We know that. But let's talk about the AAA gaming, AAA gaming, Call of Duty, and all that good stuff. Recently, a game came out. It's called Dragon's Drama. Dragons it is called Dragon's Dogma 2. This came out recently. Actually, came out March 21, 2024. Re- Recently yesterday. The reviews on this game, as far as today, on Steam mostly negative, 14,032. And if you hover over the one on Steam, it is 39% of the 14,032 user reviews for the game are positive, which is not good as of the 14,000 reviews. So that's not good. Mostly negative. So if you take away 50%, that's about 7,015, and then minus another few, that's only 6,000 something reviews that are positive. And the reason why they highlight reviewers highlight microtransactions, characters are stuck in some area in the game on the floor, can't reload the autosave according to this reviewer. De novo, the bad optimization, can delete saved data or start a new game. $1 to edit your character appearance after spending $80, and the game, as of right now on Steam, is selling for $70. Okay, so $70 plus another dollar if you want to customize your character, plus any other microtransactions that are in the game in single player mode, folks. Okay, now what does this have to do with the state of AAA gaming? You're gonna find out in a quick bit. Because remember, this is the Dragon's Dogma 2, and this is made by Capcom. Capcom is known for Resident Evil, excuse me. Resident Evil, they're known for other games. They're AAA. They count as a AAA studio because it's Capcom. Okay? Resident Evil. Everybody knows Resident Evil. Everybody knows Mega Man, Street Fighter, Resident Evil 4 remake. All the games that you know for Capcom, they're AAA company. So that's why they count as AAA. Okay, let's go to another game that everybody knows about. And I don't think you need an introduction to this game. Call of Duty, the new one, not the OG. The OG is fine. It's just that nobody plays it anymore. We're talking about this puppy right here. The new one, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 2023 to 2024. Mostly negative. I wonder why. Actually, that's sarcasm because I know why. Let me explain. The state of modern gaming nowadays is number one, money. They want the money. That's why they're doing microtransactions. Number two, recently, and I don't think that is a surprise anymore to anybody, games, triple A games in particular, have been coming out rushed, incomplete, or they tell you, hey, buy the game now, we'll fix the game later. That's Call of Duty here. In my opinion, that's Call of Duty and some other games. As we can see here, Sledgehammer Games, Treyarch, Raven Isoft, I believe, and Toys for Bob, I believe, is a developer. And by the way, how much is the game to buy? $70. Yeah, triple A gaming nowadays is $70 starting in the year 2022. And let's take a look at the reviews for this game. In the recent days, there are 529 reviews, mostly negative. Makes sense. 32% of the 529 reviews have in the last 30 days are positive. Meaning, if we take half of 530, I'm gonna go for 530 because that's an even number. At least 250 minus another few, 100 and maybe 35 are positive. 135 out of 529. If you count all negative reviews, all reviews, interestingly enough, that's the same number as you would hit a lucky 7 with Zidane in Final Fantasy 9. 7,777. Yeah, I'm not kidding. So if we take that, the total reviews, 32% are positive, which means if you take half of 7,777, that's about less than 3,000. I'm not going to do the whole calculation here. I just want to give you a picture of the modern state of modern gaming, AAA. Let's take a look at the reviews going out. And recently, they just launched their Call of Duty Mobile, Warzone Mobile Zero. Let's have a look at the reviews. Let's go with the negative, of course, because that's how we play this game. Let's see what we have here. Definition of greed, right here, right here. Definition of greed, easy. Microtransactions, that's number one. Number two, the skin shop, the the bundles, and then Activision is trying to just cash in on nostalgia or NBA stars, Kevin Durant. Remember, there was a Kevin Durant bundle at one point here on the game. Oh, and don't forget, we also have the Tim the Tatman skin. I love Tim the Tatman. He's a funny guy when it comes to streaming. Don't worry, he's a very good guy. But a lot of nowadays, you have the whole pay to win aspect of Call of Duty. There was a one time, I think it's still here. There's a skin, a bundle. If you buy the bundle, you also get a UAV and DMZ. Now, doesn't sound like much at first, but keep in mind you're playing DMZ. You're going to get a UAV and DMZ. It's just like the same thing as getting a UAV and the regular Call of Duty at the start of the game, by the way. So if you buy the bundle, whatever it's called, you start with an automatic free UAV just by buying the bundle, and that's pay to win because you have an advantage over players who don't have a UAV at the start. And remember, keep in mind for DMZ, you have to you have to risk. It's a risk reward game. You go into the DMZ. If you die in the DMZ, you lose everything. If you extract in the DMZ, you win everything that you earned. That UAV that came with the bundle, you get that one for free, and that's huge. A huge advantage when it comes to DMZ or anything in DMZ. Let's see what else we got there. Crashes. I crashed a few times with Call of Duty recently. Shadow ban. Searching game. 30 minutes later, wow, in game. 32 seconds later, aim bother. Kill and get nuke. Let's go wait for a game, have fun. True, 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 true. Um, the game is full of hackers and trolls. Aimbot will hack even they can access your PC, even make your game disconnect. They can give you 1,000 report and one click and more. True. Yeah, Call of Duty. Yeah, that is the state of Call of Duty now. And I always use Call of Duty as an example because of the way it's been going and the way that modern gaming is nowadays. Number one, greedy. Number two, money. Greedy. Number two, incomplete. Rely on patches. And number three, every time Call of Duty updates their game, it feels like they crash the game anyway. They make new problems out of new old problems. Oh my goodness. That is why I haven't played Call of Duty in recent days too, recent weeks. Now, what does this have to do with today's talk about indie games and the rise of indie games and the state of modern gaming? Easy. The way games nowadays in the AAA market have been rushed, and it's not good. It's not a good practice because you are essentially saying this: hey, we'll update the game, but you have to buy the game first. We'll update the game and complete it later. It's not like back in the day where you buy a Mario game. I love Super Mario 64. And congratulations, you buy the game once you're done. DLC maybe, but Mario 64, yeah, you're done. Thank you for playing. Have a nice day. Okay? Here, with today's modern gaming, it's hey, you want Mario? You want some Mario? Here, I'll give you the Mario. Yeah, 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 yeah. $70, please. Oh, now, of course, that's just a huge exaggerated example. But here's what I'm saying. We'll give you the Mario, but it's $70, and then we have a DLC for the upstairs rooms. You're gonna get Snowman's Land. You're gonna get Peach's Castle. You're gonna get Final Bowser, but you have to pay $15 DLC. That's today's gaming. That is today's gaming in modern gaming. So now let's transition into the other side of gaming that I don't hear being talked about much, and that, my friends, is today's main topic: indie gaming. So this is an article from Super Jump. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a 17-minute read, but basically it talks about, hey, this is the state of indie games in 2023 and beyond. This was written by Andrew Johnston on December 4th, 2022. Now, this is a 2-year-old article, but I think it holds precedence, especially in today's day and age. Um, I'm not gonna read everything. If you want to read the whole article, I'll link it in the description. Okay, but I want to go over certain aspects about this article. Then I want to go over where indie games have been popping up. Steam and the indie game market. There's one place. The story of indie is in many ways the story of Steam, and the Steam has had a banner year with the growth of consoles hampered by supply chain issues, major competitors losing their vigor, and alongside a successful entry into hardware. Steam has made a serious mark in the industry in 2022. The question is, has this translated into good times for the developers putting their games on the platform? As it turns out, this is somewhat a complicated question. In previous years, there was a sentiment that the consoles were sort of the happy hunting grounds for small developers. But that wasn't the impression I received from the devs with whom I spoke. Most of them actually identified Steam as the ideal platform for their own games, owing to factors like ease of development and publication. Quote, Steam has the best systems for people to find the games, while consoles are really bad at with that. Save Devin Munich of Superland Games UG, a statement very different from what we usually hear from critics. There is one factor that might make excuse me. There is one factor that might make Steam look to start to look for more attractive to certain small teams. Steam Deck, the Steam Deck thing. Many developers have to desire to work with Nintendo. Excuse me. Many devs have the desire to work with Nintendo, because the type of the games that are proven to sell well on Nintendo Switch, namely the kind of throwback titles that are the bread and butter of the indie scene. Excuse me. The emergence of portable gaming PCs, including not just the deck, but a range of similar devices made by other manufacturers, could provide a new market for these games that is easier to access than a Nintendo system. And as you can see in the screenshot below, this is from Koromon. I played this before. I played it live for you guys, and it's a fun game. I'm not gonna cap. It's a very fun game. Similarities between the systems and more importantly their target market were a common refrain among the devs who specialize in more traditional games. Well, the ideal platform for a game like this handheld, Steam Deck and Switch, both platforms which we support already, says Theora Gsoft, developers of the most monster teaming RPG Koromon, Lauren Lemec, the developer of Rampage-like game Terror of Hemaris, concurs. Well, my games are well suited for the on-the-go gaming with the Switch and Steam Deck because my games can be enjoyed by in small bursts. True. So here we can see that the way they want to market their games is Nintendo and Steam and the Steam Deck. It's on the go. You can go on the go with Steam thanks to the Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch. Because the Nintendo Switch, you can bring it with you. All you need is the case, the little tablet thing, your controller, and you're fine to go. Just bring your AC adapter, you can charge it, and ta-da, you're playing on the go. Can you do that with a PS4? No, not really. Can you do that with a PS3? Not really. And then we see here, we see that the Koromon one says the ideal platform for a game like this is handheld. True. You can bring Koromon on the go. Let's see what do we have here. And then we continue talking about the games itself. Popular and unpopular genres. Here are the popular and unpopular genres when it comes to gaming. Take a look at the biggest games of the year, then remove the AAA blockbusters from the question, and a few patterns start to emerge. Survival type games, which have been a big hit for several years now, remain dominant in 2022. Many of the most popular non-AAA titles, including V Rising, Draft Grounded, Threaded Deep, and Dread Hunger, feature a heavy focus on survival mechanics. Games with roguelike mechanics also did very well, including popular games like Cult of the Lamb, Vampire Survivor, 20 Minutes Till Dawn, and Rogue Legacy 2. So, the AA, that if we remove AAA titles, these are the good games. The survival games, the Rust is another good example too. Although I think that is AAA. But Vampire Survivor, you have Cult of the Lamb, which looks pretty fun, by the way. Might try it out. Yeah, but there's more. Those aren't the only games doing well. Horror games remain very popular, with a predictable spike in Steam sales in October. Deck builder games, while still uncommon overall, are still some of the most profitable games on the platform, and we also see some breakout genres, such as the casual city builders, SimCity with fantastic designs. So games like that have been doing very well. The games that are not doing well are these I'm about to read on. You might notice some of the more essential video game genres such as first-person shooters, FPS, platformers, and RPGs are absent. These type of games have not simply been winners this year, 2022. Conventional platformers in particular have been, are are in a very bad place with some of the most common yet least profitable games in the space. This is actually true, and here's why. Here's why I think that is actually true. First of all, the reason why horror games, um, the card builder and the survival type games are doing very well is because they provide a sense of intrigue. They provide suspense. They provide something for the audience to play with. If you are a streamer like myself and you see me playing a game like let's say I'm thinking deck builder, there's suspense there because you never know what kind of cards you're gonna get in a deck builder. I'll give you a hint. I'm actually making one, by the way. I'll show you that in a moment. But with deck builders, there's always a chance. There's always a game of chance. With with survival, there's always a game. There's always providing suspense and maybe sabotages if you're into that kind of thing. The reason why RPGs and FPS platformers are not doing as well, and here's my opinion on it. FPS, there's a lot of FPS games. Always. There's always going to be FPS. The goal of an FPS game as an indie dev is to, of course, get your game out there. But then, like we said with X Defiant, although that's not a indie game because it's currently been made by Ubisoft, which is not an indie developer. But FPS games are trying to take down COD, Call of Duty, and that's not going to be the case. That's always going to be the case. Um, so with first-person shooters, their goal is to try to take down Call of Duty. That's not going to happen. Realistically, you're never going to take down Call of Duty. Platformers. Okay, platformers is kind of an interesting topic because platformers like Mario has been doing well because it's Nintendo. But when you talk about platformers, it's hard to be profitable there because you don't know what to offer your your customers. It could be a skin, it could be a thing like that, but you don't usually see that. And RPGs, role playing games. We already know about the whole JRPG aspect. RPG Maker to be exact. But those are harder because what else are you gonna offer to your customers? Oh yeah, I can make a new skin and a new campaign, but it's harder to be there in that. It's harder to be profitable in those games. It's hard. Okay, let's continue reading because there's a few more. I want to talk about a few more parts with this. The next part I want to talk about is this part right here. Content creators are getting discovered. Now, this is going to be a tie-in into one of my original plans for in the UK. If you guys are not aware, on YouTube I have a channel called In the UK, which is this puppy right here. This is going to be my indie game coverage zone. Although I don't call it that. I'm just looking for games to play. But the reason why I have this channel, and this is just in case that I want to do this more, is to cover indie games that don't get covered as much. There's a game called Void Side I'm covering right now, and this game is a zombie shooter, but it's more than a zombie shooter. As of today, as of today, 2 weeks ago, Void Side got an update for the campaign. It's the first chapter of campaign, Act One, as they call it. Space Piano Games called it Act One. Okay, now why am I having so much fun with this game? Because he provides updates. He provides new new mechanics. Every update. There is another update that's coming up, but I don't think it's not gonna be the new big one. The next big one is gonna be Act Two. But there's a certain element of this game that I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying the zombie shooter. I'm enjoying the weapons. I'm enjoying the powers, the abilities it can do. Will Call of Duty ever do that? No. Uh-uh. So what I'm saying here is indie game developers have the idea, have the freedom to be creative. If you are an indie dev, you have the power to be creative based on your knowledge of game development and how you do it. It's that simple. So now let's go back to the article. Content creators are getting discovered, and that is why I'm always doing the Indie Yuki thing. This just to see how it does as a channel, and we'll see what happens. It's not a secret. It's not. It's not a secret that visibility and discoverability are major issues in the world of electronic entertainment. There were a record 11,700 games released on Steam in 2021, and even as its consoles are throttling down on their releases, Steam is on track to meet or even exceed that record. When there are 30 titles hitting the market per day, getting noticed is a challenge. For a small team without the resources for a big conventional marketing push, the best means of production means the community at large, and connecting with them means connecting with the content creators they follow. Several of the developers who spoke with me mentioned the boost they receive from content creators, YouTubers. Quote, we only picked up on speed on that after we released on our demo for Drone Dome Keeper, and several content creators picked it up, says Reen of Bipin Bits. I think that's the name. And they continue. But before that, even though the look and premise were somewhat interesting, we don't have any real traction. Ruby Dev, the developer of Tiny Rogues, had a similar experience. Quote, before release, many big roguelike games on YouTube made videos about the game. And not just one video, but many. Because they liked the game so much, and it helped me a lot to stand out to get initial spotlight on that game it needed. End of quote. Looking through YouTube channels, this was something I noticed. When a game appears on a channel, it tends to appear many times. This is one possible explanation for the success of open ended games. Consumers prefer them because content creators prefer them, which means they get more exposure. A conventional platformer might only be good for a few hours of video, while an open ended game can give you as much video as you want, which is going to have a particularly strong appeal for anyone appearing on a live stream for several hours a day. So, open ended games. That's a huge that's a huge play here. What is an what do you mean by open ended? Well, let's talk about it for a quick bit before we continue. Open ended games are open ended. There's no ending in a way. You can play a Mario game, okay? Or a platformer in this case. And there is an ending in a platformer. There's an ending in an FPS game. But open ended. When you're talking about open ended games, you're looking at something where, hey, you're gonna do this one day and you can do this the other day. Like Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley technically has an endpoint, but the way you get there is open ended. You have you experiment with farming. You experiment with the Joja route. You experiment with the new update which came out recently. You experiment with how you play. You want to be a farmer in Stardew Valley? Yeah, go. You want to do some fishing? Yes, go for it. You want to do some marriage? Yeah, that's there too. Your story, your game. your style. Open ended. Sims is another one. There's really no endpoint there. At least not in the multiplayer stuff. But yes, you never know what's gonna happen with that. Let's continue. Um, My, Michael Pepler, team creator and operator of the YouTube channel Pep's Pick, is one of the handful of people who specialize in finding and reviewing indie titles. Quote, the market is great for gamers, but tough for developers. And a quote. He says, quote, the audience is there, but I but I've played pretty plenty of great games that do not find their audience. True, true. Let's take a look at the channel there too. Pep's Pick.
Welcome to
So here's Pep's Pick. These are all indie games, all of them. As you can see, some of these games I might even find and play on Indie Yuki. As you can see. So yeah, there's plenty of things that you can play with in an indie game. You just have to figure out how you want to style it. I'm gonna link you to this channel too for the description. But let's go back to the article. Where is that article? Oh, it gave me a new tab. I'm gonna mute this tab.
Welcome to Pep's Picks. And what do you know?
Okay, so let's continue. And it continued, and here's how it continues. Pepler has some specific advice I've never heard elsewhere. Make it clear what the game is about. Quote, your game could be fantastic, but if people don't understand it or see it, they won't play. It seems relevant to say I think most people watch my video because the game looks interesting, but they don't understand how it plays. So confusing traders get me views. Quote, on end of quote. This tracks with what I heard from some of the developers. Usually, you only have a few seconds to hook people before they move on to other thousands of games out there. So if it requires a game to several minutes of footage to explain it, it will be extra difficult to market your game. Quote, that's true, says Lauren Lemec. And reflecting on the development process, Suman Bemel Bernard says the following, quote, if I can't explain why my game is interesting in a couple of interesting instead of excuse me. If I can't explain why my game is interesting in a couple of sentences, keep keep irritating. Keep iterating. True. So what's the hook? What's the hook of your game? The hook of your game is that's the way. You have to the hook of the game. What is the game about? Tell us in a few sentences. You're good. If it takes several minutes, then people are gonna move on. That's just how it is in the gaming world. It doesn't have to be a AAA gaming too. It's indie gaming too. Any type of gaming. Same thing in movies. If you cannot tell me, hey, what's the Mario movie about? Everybody knows about the Mario movie, but let's just say I don't. If you cannot tell me what it is in a few sentences, I'm moving on to a Sonic movie. If you cannot tell me what is that in a few sentences, I'm moving on to the next Halo movie. Whatever. That's just how it is. So this is true. Automatic true. Importance of demos. This is another one that helps with the state of indie gaming and the rise of them too. The importance of demos. It is possible that the potential customers are turned off because they don't know what the game is about. I've seen a lot of games in which traders do a great job of showing aesthetic humor and or themes of the game, but leave the gameplay a bit of mystery. That's obviously a problem, as small developers are unlikely to get months of preview articles from the gaming press. I also don't think it's a coincidence that many of the more successful games I examine featured some kind of demo. Agency Storm is a good example of this, a city builder with roguelike elements. It's it is a game not easily described in words. Quote, it was oftentimes difficult to explain what's unique about Agency Storm in marketing materials. End of quote. Says Lorek Karatsky from developer Menti Games, and continues with, quote, we made sure to have the demo out for players to try it for themselves, end of quote. True. Demos help out with game developers, especially indies. You gotta get your game out there somehow. This is why I'm thinking of playing demos on Indie Yuki. Let's continue. There's a lesson here. Demos matter. When the industry started moving away from interactive demos and toward it, money interactive money attractive trailers, they they ceded a lot of ground to content creators. After all, if you can't get hands on with a game, then the only way to understand it how to play it is to watch someone else play it. True, that's true. Then again, maybe discovery isn't the most insurmountable hurdle I'm making it out to be. Certainly, not all developers are that concerned about it. A quote, I think discoverability is the only problem if the game is not good enough, says David Munich, and he continues with, we only try to make the game good and rely on the word of mouth, end of quote. Ruby Dev has a similar perspective. Quote, if you put in the work, passion, and effort to make a game, you are not one of 10,000, but maybe two and of excuse me, you are not one of 10,000, but one of maybe two, and your chances of success are much, much higher than everyone wants you to believe. End of quote. Yet, despite this optimism, most of the developers whom I spoke agreed with Prepler that the market is getting harder. So, if the problem isn't discovery, then what's the real challenge? True, let's talk about that again. This part right here, the demos mattering part. And and this is going on with AAA developers. The money attracted trailers. Take a look at Call of Duty nowadays. You've seen the Call of Duty commercials. The new season, the new this, the new that, the new bundle, the new this. March Madness is going on right now. You're gonna see a Call of Duty commercial for the new season, or the new game Helldivers, or the new game whatever is coming out. You're going to see those monetized, money attractive trailers. Obviously, that's on TV, and you only have a limited time because it's during the commercial break. But then the trailers, the way the trailers are on YouTube, you don't see gameplay. No, 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 no. You don't, because gameplay is what sells. The trailer can kind of sell you on a game, but you don't see gameplay. Gameplay you sell on gameplay. You don't sell on trailer, because the trailer can be great as aesthetically. It can be great visually, but we gotta see the gameplay. The gameplay is what sells the game, not the trailer. Because if we go by trailer, we're gonna go and have a Call of Duty commercial again, a Call of Duty situation where the trailer is great. I I can find a trailer that's fine and stuff, but the real thing is gameplay. How does the game play? What does the game look like when played by a person? That's what sells the game, not the trailer. And that is my opinion based on what I think Call of Duty. Other games have gameplay. Some of them do, some of them don't. You gotta have some gameplay. And then about discovery isn't the hurdle here. Let's think here. If you put in the work, passion, and effort to make a good game, you are not one of 10,000, but maybe one of maybe two, and your chances of success are much higher than everybody wants you to believe because of how developers are. Discoverability is hard as an indie dev. This is why, as an indie dev, you have to search search high and wide for your reach. You have to put demos. You have to put gameplay. You have to put marketing yourself and or your team, I should say, because you could be a solo dev or you could be a team. Okay. The next, the continuation of this article is about the price of games and growing competition. I'm just going to skip over this part because I want to get into like talking about examples. Here's the outlook according to the article. The outlook, what comes next? The market will continue to evolve in 2024, offering a new challenge and with luck opportunities to go with them. So the final question, what does this scene look like going forward? Is there more cause for optimism or pessimism? Among the people who answer me, there's a general understanding that the indie space in particular has been changing very quickly. But what that means is very much a matter of perspective. Aldrich Chang of Mixed Realms sees the market, or rather the consumers, changing in ways that are beneficial to developers. Quote, players are increasingly understanding that indie games are not AAA AAA titles, and they have a realistic expectations that indie developers do not have the budgets to package their games with with expensive cutscenes, voiceovers, or by Hollywood A-listers, licensed IPs like Marvel, etc. Chang says, and he continues with quote, but what any developers are expected to deliver is a good game with tons of fun and replayability. And if we deliver on those, this is a great market for small development teams. End of quote. That feeling from Tragsoft is very similar. Quote, the market currently has a lot of indie titles, but what makes a game stand out is the quality in gameplay. Non AAA graphics are easily accepted if the gameplay is great. So yes, I would say the market is good for small teams for with quality gameplay titles. On the other hand, by contrast, others see the market as becoming more difficult. Sometimes it's a matter of resources, as suggested by Rendries. Quote, if if you if you just a small indie team with 1 to 4 members to make your game and sell 50,000 copies easily, but with teams with like 10 to 30, it's not that good. Then there's the issue of growing competition in this space. Quote, it's certainly much harder to get successful notice in 2022 than it was 8 years ago. This is Fabrice Brenton of Calgat Games. Production values have increased a ton overall. And as you can see here, and that's the only things I want to cover in this article. Now that we talked about the article, let's cover where indie games are trying to pop up and how they are being discovered. The first place that a lot of gamers or indie gamers go to, besides Steam, is itch.io. Interestingly enough, I have an account for a reason because I am learning game development for the first time with Unity. Although I also use it for VR chat world. Believe it or not, you can make a game in VR chat in Unity. Sounds fun. But let's take a look at what we have here. Yuki's first card game. I'm going to talk about that in just a quick bit. But I want to go over browsing indie games. All of this you're about to see here are indie games. All of them. This is where some of them are. There's a lot. There's a lot of indie games here. Some of them are hits. Some of them are misses. But let's be honest. Even the misses can actually be a hit if it gets the right audience. It just has to be, can you make a good one? Let's take a look. Look at that one. Somebody made a Mario game too. True. Um, there's actually a game that I'm looking at into right now. That one. Look at this game. This game looks like it came from a AAA. This is an indie game. Andrea 6. This is an indie game here. Twitter, merch, Patreon, Discord, everything here. Oh, by the way, this is a free novel game. How about um everybody knows about Doki Doki Literature Club thing. This game is popular now because, like we said earlier, about content creators making videos. A lot of content creators are making videos about this game, Doki Doki Literature Club. One of those content creators just happens to be our favorite Taylor Peaks. She played it before as Shadina, of course. Makes sense. Content creators are making videos on this. Also, Cult of the Lamb is a game that was also heavily making content on. We also have other games that you don't hear about. Some of these games actually look fun. Here is Sprout Valley. Does anybody know where this probably got inspiration from? Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is an indie game too. It just got an update. This is for $8. Um, there's even a Mario fan games. Fan games have been doing well too. I'm looking at my collection, and there's one game that I'm looking into right away, and that is the game called. I can find my collection of games. This one, Archon's Fall. I just found out about this game today because of looking on Twitter. Another game, another site where indie games are is Game Jolt. Game Jolt allows you to upload your creations. Let's see here if I can sign in. Of course, I remember logging in here. Oh, really? It's been a while since I've been on Game Jolt, so let's see if I remember my thing. Okay, I'm gonna do that later. But if we go to Game Jolt, let's go to the. There we go. Look at this. Games upon games upon games. Oh, there's a game called Toaster Ball. What is this game about? Oh, it looks like a toaster oven, toaster like bread. Look at this. This game looks like ping pong, but with look at that toaster oven. You, the toasters play ping pong. That's funny. Hey, if you want to try it, check that out. Again, indie games. Again, you're gonna have your hits, you're gonna have your misses, but at least you know it's out there. You just have to find a way to make it fun. False Front, it looks like an FPS game. It's also on Steam. Look at this. I believe you can create your own character. See. Yeah, you can customize your loadout. Oh, that's cool. And looks like we have a thing here. What's going on here? Looks like a search and destroy game. That's actually neat. That's cool. This game or this demo, you can play it now. Let's see how the game actually look. False Front is the only game, and this the last update was 9 months ago. False Front 2.0, adding weapons, grenades, customized gears, improved NPC AI, and more. This developer has been on it. So there's a lot of cool games that you can get here on this channel. I mean, not channel, but this particular platform. Okay, so yes, game, indie games, and you never know. One of these is a sleeper pick, and you might be able to make a very good game or find a good game. And so I leave you all with this: between the article, between this, it's.io, and B and Game Jolt, and of course Steam. Obviously with Steam, then the big one has been Town World and Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley just got an update. I leave you with this: indie games are changing the industry in a way that I never thought it would. If I told you that indie gaming would take over, you wouldn't believe me until we saw what's been happening with Call of Duty, with AAA gaming nowadays. So I say this to you: check out an indie game. Check out your favorite indie game. You never know what you're gonna find. You could find one game, the one you're playing, that indie game you're playing, is being discovered because of your video. You're helping make an indie game popular by playing it. You just don't know it yet, but you could. It's it's very much possible. That is it for today's commentary. I know it's a long one, but we wanted to make sure we go in depth with this. I wanted to go in depth with this, especially what I've been learning. Especially what I've been learning as well with game developers. And I know what's the last question. How hard is it to get started with indie game development as a developer? As a gamer who plays video games, or like as a gamer who watches does YouTube channel video, that's the easy part. The harder part is actually developing. How easy is it to start game development? Make sure you have a Unity account or Epic or Unreal Engine, and all you have to do on Unity, assuming they have the money for it, start looking at templates. Start looking at templates. Are you thinking of looking to make a tower defense game? I believe they changed it, the money, but are you making a tower defense? Let me see. Let me see if it actually is called tower defense here first. No, it's not. But look at this. Are you looking to make an FPS game? Oh, because I put on sale only. Look at that. There's a few templates you can buy right now to make your FPS game. All you have to do is start learning about making new systems for it to make sure it's not an asset flip. Other than that, if you want to make a FPS game, look at that. FPS engine, easy. Start learning. Start learning the package, and you'll be all right. Besides, believe it or not, I'm working on tutorials for packages like this. Um, look at multi FPS. This is a multiplayer FPS builder template. Low poly FPS game kit. You want to start making your own FPS game for $20? This is your kit for you. In fact, view game details favorite right now. You learn how to make maps, learn how to use prefabs in at Unity. You're making your game. $20 to start right here. There's enemy prefabs too. FPS game with demo to show you guys how to do it. C sharp script if you're scripting. How to learn how to do everything. That's how you do it. You want to make a card collector? Take a look at that. Although this one's more expensive, $99. But still, the same concept. If we want to make a DCG, make your own game collector card game. Although you have to learn more, you can still learn about it. Like, this looks like Pokemon. Look at that. If we look at the screenshots, if we can full screen this, if we take a look at the screenshots, you can see that we can collect cards and all that good stuff. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the one template I'm using for my card game, let's see if I remember what it was called. I think I remember what it's called. This one, New Deck, NUE. I'm using this. I made a tutorial about this thingy. I made a tutorial about this particular game pack, and I made a review on it too. Here's my review on this thing. It is 56 minutes long. Look at the comments so far. Now, obviously, it is brand new. It says, "Thank you so much. Hope it will help for anyone who wants to develop card games." The other one says, "Thank you for the video. Made is useful to help you set up the project with Star. How you import the packets and how you configure the scenes." I replied with this. Um, I'll make a remake. Look at this. That is how you do it. Now the UI, I have to learn how to do that too. But as you can see, I'm gonna actually do tutorials on this stuff. But yeah, game development, indies taking over. I think so. That's all. We'll see you guys in our next one. I know it's a long one, but I think you guys are in. I think you guys would be interested in this topic. We'll see you guys Saturday for our VR Jet special. Enjoy and good night. I mean, good day.